So we have breaking news that Dylan Round's body was found in a remote Utah desert. Let's listen to Nate Eaton at East Idaho News. This just came out 9 minutes ago, and I want to thank Shell for getting that link to us so fast.
The body of Dylan Rounds has been found. Dylan Rounds, his remains have been found in the remote area of Lucin, Utah. Dylan is the young 19-year-old who vanished over Memorial Day weekend back in 2022. He was a farmer. He moved to the desert town of Lucin, Utah, which is in northern Utah, kind of near the Nevada border, when he vanished. And his family tells me that this morning his remains were found near or in Lucin in a remote area. That's all the information that we have at the moment from his family. Of course, Rounds had been missing since May of 2022. The 19-year-old spoke with his mother on the phone right before he vanished, and his family has spent the past 2 years searching for answers. His mother, Candace Cooley, tells me that as part of a plea agreement with James Brenner, the man accused of killing Dylan, Brenner led the investigators out to the site where the remains were on Tuesday morning, which...
Wow. So James Brenner, the one that they suspected all along, led them to Dylan's body today.
Would be today, April 9th, in case you're just tuning in, or you're watching on another day. They got there, they found those remains, and they have been recovered. Now, Brenner is charged with aggravated murder and abuse or desecration of a human body in connection to Round's death. Let me show you just how remote this area is. That's where Dylan was farming. That was his camper. That was his truck. And you can see there's not much around this area. It really was a desolate area.
I never understood this whole situation with this James Brenner even being around this young guy. Disgusting.
James Brenner, this is the man who is facing those charges. He, again, must have said something to investigators or cooperated or something. We don't have all of the details at this point, but they do have the remains because of where James Brenner led them. This is a spot where James Brenner had his camper. He lived near Dylan Rounds out there. Both of them were in separate campers. And when Dylan's family went out to begin looking for him in late May of 2022, they found his boots right there behind that mound of dirt, which was...
I'm sorry, but that creepo is living near my son? Fuck no.
Some distance off. And there was also a shed right by James Brenner's camper. This is what that shed looked like. And within a few days of Dylan disappearing, James Brenner cleaned that shed to the point of how it looks now. You know, it doesn't look very clean maybe to some of us, but he did remove bags out of that shed according to Dylan's family, and he did take those to an undisclosed location. And so all of this would likely have come into play if there was a trial. It still could as far as evidence. But as I mentioned, according to Dylan's family, as part of some sort of plea deal, Brenner took the authorities to the area where Dylan's body was, and they were able to find it. I spoke with Dylan's family. They, of course, are a lot of emotions tonight. This has been such a mystery for 2 years now. But Candace did ask me to convey, we thank everyone for their support and love. We are grateful we now have Dylan's body and can bring him home as we continue our fight for justice. And unclear.
So Nate actually interviewed his parents, I think, on more than one occasion when they were looking for him.
When Mr. Brenner will appear in court again, there was a hearing scheduled for this month, but at last check that was delayed. However, now with the recovery of Dylan's body, it could be had sooner rather than later. I want to show you on a map just where this place is because it's desolate. And when I say this place, I don't mean where Dylan's remains were actually found, other than it was in the Lucin area, but that's a very large area. But this is where Lucin is. If you pull out here, you can see the Nevada-Utah border right here on the left of your screen. And then
I mean, I might sound really ignorant here, but what do you farm in the middle of the desert, in the middle of nowhere, where you have no water? I mean, they have nothing out there but a bunch of buckets. What exactly were they farming? I'm confused. I'm really, really confused. Yeah, I mean, we'll follow the trial. I don't know if his stuff is ever public, though. I've never seen any hearings for him at all. So I don't know if his stuff is broadcast, but we'll check it out. Yeah, what are they farming? Like, it doesn't, what? Some kind of grain? How was he going to harvest it? That James Brenner wasn't out there farming. You really think James Brenner was living out there and had a legit farm? There's no way. Exactly, Leanne. There's no supplies. What are they doing? Something's up with that. I ain't buying it. That shit's weird. And
over here
Ain't
is
normal.
Montello, Nevada. Dylan went back and forth between Montello and Lucin quite a bit. This was another, if you want to say big town, it's not real big, but the closest, nearest town to where Lucin is. So he went back and forth between these two places. And in the early stages of the investigation, there was a lot of focus on Montello, and then it seemed to shift into Lucin. I don't even know if there's a population count for Lucin, but they do have an airport, as you can see. If we zoom out quite a bit more, this will give you a reference as far as where this is located. So over here is Tremont in Utah, Brigham City, Malad is here.
Yeah,
Lava
I see
Hot
green
Springs,
over there, but I
Blackfoot,
don't see
Shelley.
no green where
So
they
it's
were.
right over here.
They're in like
and
sand.
It's quite a distance if you were to fly from Idaho Falls, if you were to drive from Idaho Falls down to Lucin. But this is where his body was found, and this is where family are breathing a sigh of relief now that his remains have been found. So there still are a lot of questions. There still are some court stuff to
Lots
obviously
of questions.
get
I don't get
worked
any of
out,
it.
to get solved, to get taken care of. This has been a case we've covered extensively on East Idaho News since Dylan vanished. In fact, here was a picture just at CrimeCon last year. They put up a "Have You Seen Me" poster with all of these nice messages around them. Keep fighting. Love how his parents represent him.
Something does not sit right with me. A 20-year-old guy, what did he like inherit money or something and he could buy a farm? I think that was the story. Something like that. You mean to tell me none of his family went out, and I'm not blaming his family, but none of his family went out to see where he was farming before he went missing? Yeah, like, don't you think if his mom would have seen that, she would have been like, no. Did his mother see that place? We don't know where he was found yet. Oh my God, I can't. I can't, Nicole.
We will find you, Dylan. Hold on to hope. And then there's
look above it. It's News Nation with an actual brochure with probably Brian Enton's face on it, for sake.
these wonderful photos that his mother has shared with us and on publicly on social media. There's little Dylan as a young boy feeding pigs. There he is on a tractor. He loved farming, was big.
So they loaned him money but didn't check out the area that this 20-year-old was going to set up? That doesn't even make sense.
Big into farming, big into the outdoors, fishing. There he is. I don't know if he's taking care of a sheep there. Looks like he might be. And here he is on a tractor, which, again, he loved to farm. And that's what took him out to that location so that he could begin farming. He was raised in eastern Idaho. His father is still in eastern Idaho,
Right.
Justin Rounds. And tonight, again, they have the answer they've been waiting for. They have recovered Dylan Rounds' body. We will continue to follow.
Wait, the grandparents bought the land without his parents' knowledge? And then gifted it to him? What? So grandpa found the land and then grandson ends up next to a pedo and then his body is found in the desert? Very strange.
Follow the story.
We'll have to follow this case, huh?
Bring you the latest developments. We have reached out to the Box Elder County Sheriff's Office to see if they have any
very creepy
comment. What usually happens in these types of cases is they cannot confirm right away 100%. Like, we know the ID. They'll send the body away for identification, and then it takes a day or two to get 100% confirmation. So that might be the case in this particular case, but we will just have to wait and see what they have to say.
All right, so the reason we're finding out so early is because he's been in contact with his mother. I don't know. I want to see this property. Dylan Rounds property. Isn't it funny? Not funny, but after things happen, like, then we tend to like want to dig in more. Because like when this first happened, I didn't really look at where his property would be. Let's see if there's images. Okay, guys. What the hell would he be farming here? I mean, how long did they own the property? Let's see if it tells us. They were searching abandoned mine shafts. Yeah, this is where he was working as a farmer right here. No Sela? Okay, I will. It just seems odd to me. And then you like why would you, I don't know. So there was a phone call. Let's see. I can't remember. Okay, so May 28th, 2022, 19-year-old Dylan Rounds called his grandmother as he worked on his farm in the remote town of Lucin. And then after he hung up, no one knows what happened. He was reported missing 2 days later, and they found a pair of bloodied boots behind that dirt pile. His truck was parked next to his trailer. The vehicle had been pressure washed, and the driver's seat had been moved very far forward, as if to accommodate a shorter person. The key fob for the truck was missing, and the car was locked, something he apparently never did. So his car was all clean. His pistol was missing from his trailer, and no tracks or footprints were found on the ground. I'm just skimming this. His lifelong dream was to have his own farm. He has spent the last 2 summers ripping out and redeveloping that ground on his own. He got his water rights. He did everything. His mom says Dylan was out building his life. She added, as hard as it is, and as much as I hate to say it, I'm about 99% sure someone murdered my son. This is James Brenner, a criminal with a violent past. Brenner, 59, is one of two men who were thought to have had contact with Dylan in the days before his disappearance. He has been arrested on unrelated felony gun crimes along with Chase Venstra, 41. So Brenner admitted that he was the one that took the boots out there. Oh, this is the other guy. Yikes. He said he found them by the shed, picked them up, and moved them by his camper, and then decided Dylan wasn't coming back for them. Oh, this is Lance Kelly. Pledged not to stop looking for Dylan until he's found. So Brenner was not interviewed until June 7th. Let's see. A search warrant was executed at Brenner's trailer on June 16th. They found ammunition, ignition caps, and black powder. His parents said the truck seemed too clean and was put into four-wheel drive after Dylan was complaining that feature wasn't working. The key fob to Dylan's truck was brought back and placed in Dylan's camp trailer. However, they claimed investigators didn't seem to care. That happened on day number 3 after Dylan was gone. They didn't even think to treat anything suspicious. So someone brought the key fob back. Whew, weird. Oh, here. Dylan was last seen working on his farm where he reportedly had a strange encounter with an unknown man days earlier. The man was walking down the gravel road barefoot. He flagged Dylan down, who was in his truck. Round's aunt, Katie Wells, told East Idaho News. She added that on Wednesday before his disappearance, Round spoke with several family members on the phone about the man. He asked to use Dylan's phone and was acting erratically. Well, if he let him use the phone, maybe they can find out who he is by who he called. Dylan felt the man was dangerous and may have been high. When he asked Dylan for a ride, Dylan did not give him a ride. There has been no sign of Dylan and no cell phone or bank account activity. So what would be the motive? What would be the motive for this, unless it's like a SA type deal? It's so rural. I mean, that's beyond. That is nuts. But there is a little pond right there, and I guess he got water rights. I don't know. This is Chase Venstra, who was arrested on the gun charges with Brenner. He's been linked to the case, but I don't know if he has any charges yet. These guys look like meth head creepos. Well, my thoughts and prayers go out to his family tonight. That can't be easy. I mean, easy news to take. So on that note, guys, I am going to close this out. I will see you guys in the morning.